What's the most disrespectful thing that's happened to you in the service industry? I'll go first.
I used to work at Hooters. I have a endless supply of stories of being disrespected, but this one just really takes the cake. One time I had a table. It was like a father and son. They're fine. They were drinking beer. Didn't expect to have any issues with them, right? They asked for the check. I bring them the check. The dad looks at it and he sees my name on the check, I guess, and he's like, "Oh, your name is so cool. It's like so exotic. Where are you from?" So I tell him, "Yeah, I'm from Mexico. I was born there." And he replies to that by saying, "Oh, I'm a retired ICE officer. What part of Mexico are you from?" I am standing there in shock at how quickly he responded that. And also, I didn't know what the fuck to say, so I'm like, "Yeah, I'm from Oaxaca." And he's like, "Oh, y'all know how to party, don't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we do." Guys, this man says, "Yeah, every time I caught people from Oaxaca, they were always just the coolest, just the nicest, coolest people. Every time I caught them trying to cross the border." What the fuck am I supposed to say to that? Anyways, he tipped me like 10%, and then I cried in the bathroom. So that was really cool.
What's the most disrespectful thing that's happened to you in the service industry?
So do I have a story for you. I work at a small family-owned Subaru dealership, and we also sell cars. I'm the service manager here. Needless to say, we sell like a 2010 Forester to a young lady, and she pays and all that fun stuff. She's like, "Hey, I'll pick it up after you guys close," because we close at 5. She's going to be here a little bit after 5. No big deal, right? So I'm home cooking dinner, and I get a message on our Facebook. "You sold me a car that's fucked up and our transmission's blown. It's revving way too fucking high." And so I'm like, "Absolutely, I'm so sorry. Please drop it off or get it towed in. We'll cover the tow bill and we'll get it fixed for you. I'm so sorry. I didn't expect that to happen. We've put a lot of miles on the car." I was a little skeptical, but why not look at it first, right? So we get the car here the next day. We drive it. Drives phenomenal. No hard shifting, nothing. It's smooth as butter. No issues. And we're like, "Well, we did a look at it. It looks like it's completely fine." So she goes, "I'm going to call my fucking dad. He's a lawyer. We're going to sue the fuck out of you guys." I was like, "Well, you guys can come on in and we'll talk." So dad comes in, already fucking pissed off, coming and yelling at us, telling us blah, 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 this. She's all standing in the back, arms crossed like, That's okay. And I was like, "Well, let's go for a ride and you tell me what is wrong with the car." So we kind of are on the same page. So I moved to a car to show this, but I'm sitting in the passenger seat and she does this. She shifts it all the way down into manual mode. And for those that may not know, it stays in gear 1 and it revs to fucking sky high when you go to highway speeds on that. Turns out she was keeping it in gear 1 the entire time she was driving. So I look at her, I said, "Go ahead and pull over for me. Take it out of sport mode and put it into normal drive." It drove completely fine. Yeah, we didn't get an apology. They just got in the car and left. At least if you're going to threaten to sue me, know how to drive the car.
What's the most disrespectful thing that's happened to you in the service industry?
Yo, okay, I was in high school working at a Mexican restaurant. It was lunchtime. There wasn't a lot of people around except for this one white woman. She was kind of giving me the stank eye, and as I was walking by her, she stopped me and went, "The windows over there are dirty. Can you clean them?" I was like, "Okay, sure." Started cleaning the windows. She looks at me and goes, "No, you're not cleaning those windows properly. You need to do a circular motion." I was like, damn, this bitch is watching me right now. Why doesn't she just fucking clean the windows? Whatever. All right, sure, ma'am. Started doing the circular motions. Then this bitch had the nerve to look at me and go, "Do you even know how to cook or clean?" At this point, I was really fucking annoyed, so I was like, not really. And then she went, oh, what a shame. See, my son just married this woman from Japan, and she knows how to cook and clean. Damn, bitch, good for her, I guess. She continues on. Here's the issue with America. All these young women are growing up not knowing how to cook and clean, and sooner or later, all the men in America are going to have to start outsourcing their wives. Excuse me? I was like, no way this bitch is actually serious. This must be a joke. But then she continued to say, how do these women expect to be married if they don't know how to cook or clean? It took everything in me to not punch this bitch in the face. So instead, I calmed myself, looked at her, and said, wow, honestly, it's embarrassing that these men aren't more self-sufficient because now they have to go through all the trouble of outsourcing their wives. Unfortunately, I'm gay, so when I get married to my wife, we can just, I don't know, hire a maid. She did not like my answer, but I also just did not give a fuck because I didn't like her.
What's the most disrespectful thing that's happened to you in the service industry? I'll go first.
I think I might win. A pregnant woman tried to fight me, and since I didn't want to fight her because she was pregnant, her 6'5" boyfriend chased me around my work facility at my old job, and they tried to kill me. So I used to work at an amusement park, but I worked at the restaurant inside of the amusement park. So the restaurant and the amusement park were not the same. It's the same owner, but they're two separate things, two separate companies. So backstory with this family, it was a pregnant woman. She was 8 months pregnant because I found her on Facebook, and she was 34 weeks pregnant when this happened. Her baby daddy, and then her friend who also had 3 kids. So apparently they lost their keys, and they wanted something free from the park for losing their keys. So obviously, like any other company, we are not responsible for you losing your items. Duh. But I didn't know anything that had happened before they came in to the restaurant. So it's 40 minutes after we close. Like in 10 minutes, we would be walking out. All the employees at the restaurant would be walking out. This whole family comes in and they're like, I need some water, I need Dippin' Dots, and I need free souvenir cups. And I'm like, I'm sorry, unfortunately we are closed and I can't give you guys any free stuff. And also, we can't make any transactions because our system closed down at 8 o'clock because we closed at 7:45. And she said, well, give me some water because I'm pregnant and I need water. So I said, okay, give me a second so I could put the fountain things back on because we take the fountain drink things off and clean them every night. And she's like, well, it should already be on. And that's when I was like, no, because we closed 40 minutes ago. You guys, I don't even have to give you guys water. And so they all start screaming at me. The 3 kids start screaming at me. They're like, I need Dippin' Dots. And my coworker's like, you're not getting Dippin' Dots. I was like, y'all need to get out right now because we closed 40 minutes ago. That's not my fault that you guys came in 40 minutes after we closed. I don't have to serve you. So I hand them their water. I give them all their water. And then the 8-month pregnant woman, the one who's been giving me lip the whole time, she starts going like this. She goes, step right here, bitch. Step right here. I'm going to fight you. Step right here, bitch. I'm like... I said, I'm not fighting you. You are pregnant. And she's like, I don't care, bitch. Step right here. I'm fighting you. And I was like, oh, really? Because like 2 minutes ago, you were demanding water because you're pregnant. And now you want to fight and you don't care that you're pregnant? Like, what? So it's like more screwing back and forth. So eventually I'm like, I'm done. And I walked to the back. And my coworkers heard them say, Teeny, that's my name. Teeny's not going home tonight. She's sleeping in the parking lot. We're killing her. So I'm like, ooh. So I'm sitting on a bench outside. And the boyfriend hops the fence from the parking lot into the park and chases me inside. And he starts like banging on the doors. We call the cops and the cops can't find them. And then I get escorted home from cops.
What's the most disrespectful thing that's happened to you in the service industry?
My very first job, I was a dishwasher at a restaurant. Made $6.25 an hour. One day I came in, server standing there, said chef walked out. Put her apron down and left, leaving me, the 16-year-old dishwasher, in the kitchen by myself. Kitchen, whole restaurant. I called the owner. He said, don't close the place. Do your best. I'm playing squash. That was the disrespect. Within 5 minutes of each other, 4 tops come into the restaurant. I sat them all, got them all menus and waters. Then I stood in the middle of the dining room and explained, I'm the only person here. I'm totally capable of taking care of all of you. It's gonna be a little weird. Please order. Once I have everybody's order, I'm gonna disappear into the kitchen. If you need a refill on your drink, stick your head in the back and say, hey, I need something. Because I'm gonna have to be back there cooking for all of you. They all agreed and stayed and had dinner. I think I made $100 in tips. That was in 2000.
What's the most disrespectful thing that's happened to you in the service industry? I'll go first.
Are you ready for this? Okay, so I worked in fine dining. The dining room looked exactly like Titanic. I was wearing a tuxedo. Plates at this place could literally run you about $2,000 a person if you didn't have fancy wine. This was fine dining. This man walks in for his 30th anniversary. His wife is in this beautiful floor-length mink coat. They sit down. I put an amuse-bouche down in front of him, and he tells me that he's allergic to shellfish. I say, no problem. Our chefs can absolutely accommodate that. And he says, no, come here. And he goes, if you give me any shellfish tonight, I'm going to make you unzip my pants and rub my testicles.
What's the most disrespectful thing that's happened to you in the service industry?
I think about this moment more often than I probably should every time I eat pho. So I was working at this restaurant. I was the only server. It was absolutely dead. It was myself and these two customers. One of them ordered pho with shrimp and one of them ordered pho with chicken and informed me that he was deathly allergic to shrimp. I'm like, I got you. Let's make sure there's no shrimp in your soup whatsoever. Did that. Triple check that no shrimp touched his food, came out, brought their food out, asked them if they needed anything else. The guy who got shrimp in his pho, who was not allergic, was like, hey, just making sure there's like no shrimp. And I was like, oh no, your buddy, like his food's all good, no shrimp. This man stands up, looks at me, gets this close to my face and goes, I just want to make sure because, and then he takes his hands, puts them around my neck like this and goes, because you know, if he eats any shrimp, his throat's going to swell up just like that. It's going to feel just like that. I didn't even know what to say. What? How dare you touch me?
What's the most disrespectful thing that's happened to you in the service industry?
So back in 2008, I used to be a bartender, right? And this place was at an upscale restaurant, so you had a lot of like upscale people coming through. So I had this Caucasian client, white, come through, and then he just sits down with his friends, and then he starts ordering. But the way he ordered was in Spanish. So he tells me, "Me puede dar unas cervezas?" And I didn't think much of it. I was just like, okay, how cute, man. He's trying to speak to me in Spanish, whatever, you know? And then about a few minutes later, he tells me, "Me puedes traer el menú, por favor?" And I'm like, all right, man, this motherfucker probably thinks I don't know how to speak English or something. And again, I didn't make much of a big deal about it, right? And then he goes, Juan, ven para aquí, por favor. And I'm like, I was about to correct him and say, that's not my name, and I know how to speak English. But then he's like, mira, aquí la comida no está bueno. And I'm just like, then he goes to one of his friends right next to him and he says, oh my God, I wish these Mexicans knew how to speak English because this is America. I'm over here like, I'm so appalled. Like, oh my God, this motherfucker's trying to insult me or something. So I gracefully approach him and I'm like, excuse me, sir, my name is Louis. And I do, in fact, speak English. Now, if you would have given me a full detail of what you wanted to order in the language you were comfortable with, then maybe we wouldn't have this mistake going on. The look on his face when he knew he fucked up. And then I went, pero mira, si quiere practicar el español, está bien conmigo, pero no me anda insultando, okay? I guess he felt so bad because I got a $200 tip out of that, so...